Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and welcome to my draft recap for Season 6 of the UBC. Now, if you're not familiar with my channel, you'll know that I've been in the UBC for a long time now. I think this is my 5th season going on. Yeah, because the first season I started was Season 2, so yeah, this is Season 6, 5th season. So, started by my buddy Out of the Bee's Knees. He and I sort of manage the league now, and this was kind of like the I don't want to say the first YouTube league that I was in, because technically that was the Orange League. Shoutouts to the Ryan Plummer for getting me started with that. But it was the first league that I was in where I drafted my own team, and it was the first league that I was in that finished all the way. Orange League technically never finished. I think RG and the Vert are still due to battle at some point for that title there. So anyway, let's just hop on into it and talk a little bit about the draft. UBC is going with points this season, a point system, and you have 120 points with which to construct your team. You can choose between 8 and 12 Pokemon, which is pretty broad, especially with that point total. Like, if it were me, probably what I would have decided is that it's like 10 to 12 that you have to take, but I don't think anybody went lower than 10 anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Snake style draft, 14 teams. We got the 5th overall pick, so not bad. I'm not that upset about 5th overall. And going into this, the only Pokemon that I really had my heart on was Zygarde 50%, and I was lucky enough to get that with my next pick here. So, or my first pick rather. So Zygarde's going to be our SAM, S-A-M, standing for Surface to Air Missile, which is a perfect name for Zygarde, considering that 1,000 Arrows flies through the air and hits all airborne opponents, knocks them straight out of the sky. 1,000 Arrows is the best move in Gen 7. I don't think there's any debate about that. Like, I guess, Knock Off, Scald, those are like very popular moves, but 1,000 Arrows is just broken. There's just so few counters to this, especially in a league system where the number of good checks are pretty limited, because each team can only once a Pokemon starts to a team, it can't be used, obviously. So that part is really fantastic, and I did make Zygarde my Zmon, and the reason being is that with a Zmon, Zygarde can pretty easily beat its own counters. So ground types, not ground types, grass types and bug types are your number one checks to Zygarde, but a +1 outrage coming off of the devastating Drake is going to be able to blow those back pretty easily. This thing's also really fat, which is great. It's going to make it a good check to fire types. It can switch in really easily to electric types if you put a Yachi Berry on it and stuff like that. So Zygarde, super pumped to be using this, and yeah, it's going to be awesome. So with Zygarde, I figured the popular core with Zygarde is Zygarde, Tapu Bulu, and Heatran. So with my second pick, I decided to go with Tapu Bulu, aka King Boomy. And I did use this in UPC Season 3, which I was able to get the championship for, and that was really awesome. I had a bit of a different team. I had Celesteela, Nidoqueen, Alolan Marowak, Mega Latias, but Bulu obviously is nice because it can set up a grassy terrain and it does not interfere with Zygarde's ability to spam 1,000 Arrows. And then this thing just having a base 130 attack stat, plus the move Wood Hammer, plus the ability to run a Choice Band and things like that, makes this thing a really nice nuke. The thing that I do like about Bulu in combination with Zygarde is that Bulu is going to sort of wear down some of the checks to Zygarde, mainly being, again, grass types and bug types. Sure, there's other things that check Bulu, like steel types, fire types, dragon types, but unless they quad resist, they're still not taking a choice banded Wood Hammer, and so that's pretty nice. I'm definitely pretty happy with that. And this thing has a whole bevy of awesome sets that I'm sure you guys know about, so we won't dwell on that for too long. I don't want to make this a super long draft recap. My P4G recap was like 28 minutes, and that was too long. So I was hoping to grab Heatran with the go-around here, but that got taken 2 picks before me. And then my backup plan if Heatran got taken was going to be Jirachi, and then that got taken 1 pick before me. So I was kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because I didn't really know what else to take. Metagross was something that I had my eye on. And I was thinking about maybe taking that like with the 4th pick or my 5th pick. I didn't think I wanted to take it with my 3rd pick. But I know that a pretty good Pokemon to combine with Tapu Bulu is Nihilego. This Pokemon is really great because it's got a really pretty funky speed tier. It's faster than like a lot of the best threats in the game, which is really nice. It's got a pretty great special attack stat and a very diverse move pool. It also gets rocks and T-spikes, which is very fantastic. The only thing that I wish Nihilego had a better ability to do was deal with steel types, because like between this and my King Boomy, steel types can take those on fairly well. Like, of course, Zygarde threatens them pretty badly, and a couple of my next picks can deal with steel types relatively well. But, you know, I can't use it to, like, wear down my counters and stuff like that. I just have to sort of, like, dig into the coverage to deal with them. Like, for example, if I'm going up against a Skarmory, I can T-Bolt a Skarmory. I think, does this thing get any dark moves? I guess, no, not really. Does it get any Ghost-type moves? I'm trying to find things that, like, it can use to hit Jirachi and Metagross and things like that. But yeah, so, like, Nihilego does struggle with those things, but it's amazing versus everything else. And if you find a way to get rid of your opponent's steel type, then this thing is fantastic. Plus, it's got the ability Beast Boost, and everyone knows how busted Beast Boost is. I'll say that 3 times fast. So, because I could not get Heatran, I did want a powerful fire type in order to deal with bugs and grass types, and just having a powerful fire type in general is great. And Entei, I think, is one of the best ones. It is sad that this thing doesn't have, I really like Pokemon like Emboar that have a dual typing that allow it to switch in more easily to rocks. Entei doesn't have that. But, you know, on the bright side, because it is just pure fire, it does make it a better switch into fairies and things like that. Like having a Spadef set or a defensive set on this thing is actually pretty viable. I've run Rest Talk sets in the past, and that's really good. Getting Entei gives me 2 really good extreme speed users. Sorry, I'm like stuttering. So between this guy and Zygarde, I've got some really great priority options, which I'm feeling really happy about. Yeah, and then nobody really wants to switch into Sacred Fire. Because obviously, you know, everyone knows what this move does. 50% chance to burn, very, very powerful, very good at weakening your opponent's team. It's unfortunate for Entei that the burn damage got weakened to this gen, but, you know, it is what it is. It still isn't pleasant to switch into Entei. It's funny, I have like 3 really good Choice Band users right now with my Bulu, my Zygarde, and my Entei. Which I really like. I really love choice items, like just being able to fire off like powerful hits, like, and not really having to think about it. Because Sacred Fire, like, even if your opponent has a resist, like, unless it's like a bulky fire type, Sacred Fire is sort of no drawback. Like, if they've got, you know, a dragon type, they've got Garchomp, they want to switch in Garchomp on Entei. Sorry, you're gonna get burned. You know, that's not exactly ideal for them. So Entei is very nice. So at this point, there's a few things that I'm feeling weak to. I'm feeling very weak to fighting, and there's a few others like Fairy and Poison that seem like I'm pretty weak to. I mentioned the Steel weakness, so I'm going to start to go about patching up some of those things. Slowbro is going to go a long way towards... Oh, also Water is pretty bad versus, or pretty good versus me. Like, I'm pretty bad versus Water, especially Scald. Slowbro is going to patch up a lot of those weaknesses. It's just a really fat mon. And it's like probably the best check in the game, or one of the best checks in the game to stuff like Lopunny and Mega Medicham. Because those things are just so hard to deal with. You have to have dedicated responses to those things on your team in Draft League if you don't want to get 6-0'd. Just like you pretty much always have to have a dedicated Zygarde switch in on your team these days. And kind of the same thing for Lando, though Lando's even harder to prep for. That's for sure. But Lando is not super great. Like, it can still deal with Slowbro, but Slowbro I think is one of the better checks just because it is fat and it does have Regenerator. And on top of Regenerator, it has Slack Off. So it can very easily deal with Lando if it's not like a SD Flying EMZ set. But you can scout for those sorts of things and try and handle it. But yeah, I also like that this thing has Calm Mind. I also like that it has Trick Room. I also like that it has Thunder Wave. Like, I think just the support options on this thing are great. I think that it's a great bulky mon. I think it's a great setup mon. I just can't say enough good things about Slowbro. Slowbro is being named Bluto DTX. DTX is Delta Tau Chi, which is a fraternity from Animal House, and Bluto is John Belushi's character. Rest in peace. John Belushi's a fantastic classic actor. So this really takes care of like those top tier draft league threats, like I mentioned, Lopunny, Mega Medicham, things like that. So moving on, I wanted a little bit of more speed on my team, and I was looking for electric types. I was thinking about taking Mega Manectric for a little while, but Mega Manectric's kind of expensive. It's like 13 points, and it is good. I feel like a lot of the Megas are overvalued in the points format, just because yes, they're good. Like I would say that Manectric's objectively better than Jolteon because it is faster, has a nice ability in Intimidate, and it gets fire coverage, which Jolteon does not. But the giving up the opportunity to draft another Mega is pretty tough. But anyway, I did end up grabbing Jolteon because they don't come much faster than Jolteon. And yes, this thing doesn't get like amazing coverage, but it gets enough. It gets Shadow Ball, it gets Signal Beam if you want to hit Psychic types, or I guess Ghost types, or Ghost coverage here also hits the Psychic types. You guys get my point. If you want to hit like a Dark type really hard, you could use that. It gets Baton Pass, Volt Switch, lots of great things. It gets Heal Bell in Wish, even though I wouldn't consider this a viable Wish mon. But I didn't have that up on my team up to this point, so it's useful to have that. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted Jolteon for, and it was only 9 points. Like I knew that I wanted to save up points for other mons later on in my draft. At this point, like what I'm hoping I can finish up with is Fortress, Hawlucha, Bronzong, Volibee, which is the pre-evolved form of Mandibuzz, and then finally Crawdaunt. That's how I wanted to finish up my team. Get 11 mons, get Spin, more rocks, more spikes, get Defog, and I thought that would have been really awesome. So Jolteon was sort of the first piece of wrapping up my draft. And I did mention that I wanted Fortress, aka Pete Burns, because you spin me right round, baby, right round. That's what we do. Fortress is a very good rapid spinner, and it gets every single hazard in the game, which is really nice. It doesn't get Sticky Web, but it gets the damage doing ones, the damage dealing ones. And it's just got a really nice physical defense stat. Allows it to switch into fairy moves relatively well. Like an Azumarill would have a hard time dealing with an not an offensive fortress, but a defensive fortress. And things like that gives you a good grass switch in. And yeah, so that's what I really wanted with Fortress. And even though this is not a ground resist, because its physical defense is so large, it does make it a pretty good switch into ground type moves. I learned that in the GOT, the Grand Overseas Tournament, organized by Aster J. And there are some cheeky moves that Fortress has that allows it to deal with things like Excadrill, Crocodile, etc. So I do like that quite a bit. Hawlucha, aka Paco, shoutouts to Jackie Chan Adventures if you guys ever watched that growing up. Hawlucha is a natural partner for Tapu Bulu because it does get the ability Unburden, and when you combine Unburden with Grassy Seed, everyone is pretty familiar with this by now. It immediately gets its ×2 boost, and that allows it to go for powerful acrobatics type moves. It goes for a high jump kick, it goes for a drain punch, etc., etc. But I don't think I'm going to be limited to just those sorts of sets on Hawlucha. I think banded sets with U-Turn could be really good, especially if my opponent has a fat Pokemon that Hawlucha can break through. I'm not going to name a specific Pokemon, but I think it could be determined pretty easily what sort of Pokemon those are. This also gets Baton Pass, which is potentially very awesome if you're rocking like a weakness policy set or something like that, or if you just want a Swords Dance Pass, you can do that with Hawlucha very, very easily as well. So I thought this is going to be great in combination with all the rest of the things on my team. It does beat fighting types, it does beat grass types that Bulu doesn't appreciate. It beats steel types that Bulu doesn't appreciate. So finally got like my steel answer with Halucha here. So now I'm hoping to get Bronzong in the next go around here, but Bronzong gets taken like 3 picks, or no, it gets taken like 1 pick before me, which was just devastating. Bronzong was going to be really great because I wanted a powerful steel type in order to switch into fairy type attacks, flying type attacks, things like that. Where like, and Fortress being a steel type, but also a bug type, it does not resist flying. I don't really have a flying resist otherwise at this point. Jolteon does not count as a flying resist. And then the nice thing about Bronzong too is that it's not weak to ground. And so, you know, I already have Entei, Nihilego, Jolteon on this team that are all weak to ground. And it's true that I have Bulu to mitigate the Earthquake weakness, but if I have to deal with Zygarde 10, or I have to deal with the Niddos, which have Earth Power, or Mega Diancie is running Earth Power, things like that, like I was going to be in trouble. Those spawns were really scary. So that would have been really great, but it got taken. And so I don't love my next pick, but I was excited to use this because it's a brand new Pokemon, and it is powerful, extremely powerful, and that is, of course, Stakataka. Stakataka is going to be named Peephole because you can see this little eye hole that it's got on here. You know, I could have made like a Trump wall joke or whatever, but I decided against that. This thing is really amazing because, well, one, it gets Stealth Rocks, which I'm excited for, but mainly I'm excited for Trick Room. I now have a second very powerful Trick Room user on the team, and this thing is just so powerful. Once you get 1 kill with it and you get up a Beast Boost, if you're under Trick Room, you're just going to start piling on kills. And I think that that's very cool. It does have very good defensive stats. Like, obviously, it stinks that it's got kind of a shit typing because it's 4 times weak to ground, 4 times weak to fighting. But if there's something that's, like, choice locked, you know, say that there's a flying type or a normal type that's locked into a move, I can bring in Stakataka, clicks Trick Room, and go for my coverage move of choice, you know, whether it's just Edgequake or, sorry if I can spell Earthquake correctly, if it's Edgequake, or if I want to go for the strongest Gyro Ball in the game, you know, I can do all those sorts of things. And I think it's just going to be really fun to use. I don't think it's the best option, but it was definitely the most fun. Yeah, and I know that there's these kind of funny sets, like you can run, no, that doesn't even get you, oh, you have to run minus this nature, and then go up to, there we go. Now it's attack boosting, so that's very nice. So you can run this sort of spread on a set here for Trick Room setting. So that's very nice. So last but not least, I did want Old Bay my Crawdaunt, because I didn't have any great answers for dark types, or not dark types, psychic types up to this point. Like, obviously I don't have great dark answers anyway. Like, I have Bulu as a switch-in, but that's pretty much it. And Halucha, but Halucha's not very bulky. Crawdaunt's not necessarily that bulky either, so dark types are going to be a problem for me. But at least things like Reuniclus, Cresselia might not be a big issue, because this thing has a pretty nice attack stat, and it's got an amazing ability and adaptability, and it's going to run very powerful knockoffs, and it does get Liquidation this gen if you don't want to run Crabhammer. So all those things are great. It's got awesome setup options with Swords Dance. It's got Dragon Dance as well. So, so that's not Dragon Dance. There we go. You know, Crawdaunt is just so powerful, so hard to switch into. I'm excited to use this to destroy Bulky Muse. I'm excited to use it to destroy Mesprit, you know, Uxie, Necrozma. Necrozma's going to take a ton of damage, even though it's got that Prism Armor ability. I think this is going to do very well. And it could potentially be a nice combination to Trick Room Slowbro or Trick Room Stakataka, because it's naturally very slow, of course, and it can just destroy things. You know, bring in like a Choice Banded Liquidation versus a lot of teams, and there's not many responses. So that's going to do it. That is the 10 Mons that we have. It's not a perfect draft. I don't like that I don't have a plethora of rocks options. Like, Fortress, I feel like, is gonna be pressured to bring rocks most of the time. Because I don't really want to be bringing rocks on Nihilego or Stakataka. I want to bring them more offensive. I also am going to be reliant on Fortress for hazard removal. But at least my team is not overly weak to hazards. I've only got Entei with a 2x weakness, taking 25% on switch-in. I don't have a ton of momentum options, or at least I don't have as many as I would like. I have Volt Switch on Jolteon, I've got Volt Switch on Fortress, and I've got U-Turn on Hawlucha, but otherwise that's it. But otherwise, I think that this could be a pretty fun team. Zygarde is just a Pokemon that is so good. Like, it's probably top 3 Draft League Mon right now. I think other ones that are in the top are Lando T, and it's hard to say what the last one might be. Maybe Celesteela. Celesteela is a very good one because it does have Beast Boost, and it's just so fat and difficult to take down. So we'll go with that for now as being the top 3. And yeah, we're going to do our best to have another playoff season. And we made it to the semis last season. That's pretty good after missing playoffs in Season 4. But obviously we want to take it to the next level. Hopefully we can make it to the finals. Maybe we can win the finals. That would be really fantastic. But mostly I'm just looking forward to a fun season with a bunch of fun dudes who are all excited about the UBC just like I am. So with that said, that's going to do it for me. Thank you guys for watching. Battles for this are going to be going up on Fridays. We're going to have, I guess, 2 uploads on Fridays because P4G's battles and UBC battles are going to be on Fridays. Maybe I'll kind of break the rules and put UBC on Saturday. We'll have to see. We can make that judgment call when we get there. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you check back the channel for other gaming and Pokemon content. Until the next time, I will see you guys later.